Hello
Hello,
again.
Johan. How are you doing?
Oh, those complicated questions.
Yeah. What seems to have
Pretty
happened
good.
since the last time we spoke?
Yeah, wow. So that was a really interesting call we had last. It
Yeah.
was very silent and quite funny because I really felt that I don't have to answer any questions.
Yeah.
So I was just silent, and that was perfectly fine. So it
Yeah.
was nice. I would like to see the video myself because I don't really see. I would like to see myself from outside because it was
Yeah. Yeah.
no, it was and then after that, as I said, I didn't look. I only saw video. I didn't see the one-on-ones before,
Yeah.
but I looked at several now, and
Yeah.
I think you are amazing. I mean, you really find the way to turn off people's brains and start just experiencing. It's really fascinating. So yeah, so
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
that was obviously also what happened with me,
Yeah.
that it became very, very silent. A silence that I'm familiar with, but I can't really.
Yeah.
I don't end up there automatically, and I have a
Yeah.
tendency to build up stress and stuff that makes me not be there.
Yeah.
And I realized some things. First of all, really this the embryo of thinking. I've noticed that if, like all thoughts are not true is obvious.
It is. Yeah.
Most of the thoughts are kind of harmless. But when it comes to things that have like an emotional connection, I just have been reminding myself it's just a thought,
Yeah.
and then it immediately kind of loses its
Yeah.
solidity. It becomes less true. But also realizing that as you talked about, thoughts feeds thoughts. So there is really like
Yeah.
it's innocent. There is something that starts believing the thoughts, so they can grab me because yeah, there's some process that happens here with the thoughts that
Yeah.
makes it run into that system.
It's
So
it's
that was helpful.
yeah, it's quite simple, right? Because time is a thought.
Mm.
Thought is a time. And it only has potency when you believe in time. So
And
for
this is where it
example,
becomes a little tricky for me because uh, when you talk, the thing the way, and I've listened to other things that you talked about.
yeah,
So when uh, if you say what is between time and no time, then I'm 100% there, if you can say that. Uh, if you say time doesn't exist, there is a part of me that, or brain or
yeah,
mind or whatever, that says, how do you know that?
yeah,
Or it doesn't say that, but it's the same thing with illusion. When that word is used, it feels concrete,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that kind of feels like it puts this system into some kind of resistance or
yeah,
something.
yeah. And
So
that,
it's some words are really helpful for
yeah, yeah. But
opening up, and
what if all words are just irrelevant?
yeah, that is
Yeah,
the point. That is the
yeah,
point.
yeah. Because you know what?
Um,
Because the thing is, especially listening to non-duality, we have heard so many times time is an illusion. So
yeah,
that becomes a statement
yeah,
and it
exactly,
becomes a
exactly.
belief now or
Mm,
or a doubt. Basically, it's between doubt or a belief, right?
mm,
Because
mm,
if somebody goes, well, there's no time,
mm.
there's only
And
two
it's
way there's
obvious.
only two way that it could go. You believe it
Yeah,
or you doubt what's being said. But what's in
yeah. Well,
between belief and doubt?
yeah, and that is the without thought.
Yeah,
There is not nothing, or nothing is also a word, but same thing with time. It's obvious that time doesn't exist without thoughts.
that's
It
right. Yeah,
only exists when
yeah,
I think about it. So and it's also obvious that thoughts are not true. I mean, that's
it's a loop. It's a
definitely,
it's a loop. It's a loop. It's a loop, right?
yeah,
So
it's a loop,
it's a
and
loop. Yeah,
it's obviously a concept, and the concept can never be true. It is trying to describe something that cannot be the same thing as the real,
yeah.
whatever
I
that is.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed it, but and I don't like putting people down because everything is just is, right? But everyone just talks about a glimpse.
Mm, mm.
The moment that you say it's awareness or it's nothing, they're talking about a glimpse, meaning that they have landed somewhere. They've
Yeah,
landed
yeah,
in a
yeah,
belief
yeah,
system. And
yeah.
and and but the moment that you say that to them, they become quite aggressive. This is not a belief, but that's also a belief. This
Yeah,
is not
yeah.
a
No, no.
concept, that's still a
But you
concept.
can't, yeah, that's the point, because you can't have a belief
No,
without thought.
exactly.
There
Yeah.
is no way to
Yeah.
it's so obvious that belief is thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so I've been just being as usual. I just came out of a uh, job meeting, so I have employees,
Yeah.
and I one of the bad characteristics of this person is
Mhm.
I'm not very patient.
Yeah.
So when I have to repeat something two times, it starts to building up
Yeah.
lots of energy here. So
Yeah.
that's where I came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'll start seeing that that's just a thought as well.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I know that. And the thing is that it's so bodily. I can't imagine how it is to have like constant pain, because I have this, I can't turn off the body. It's like the body sensations are always there.
Yeah.
So it's
Which is just a thought, by the way.
that the body sensations are there.
Always there. Yeah. That's just a thought. Yeah.
Well, the sensation,
Because the
would
moment
you
the
say that?
sensations happen, it gets hijacked by a thought saying that it's
Yeah,
always here.
yeah, no, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I
Okay.
notice it, or if I label it,
Yeah.
there is, which is exactly the thing I thought about. What I said, that it's just when I say, when I label it as something negative,
Yeah.
then I notice that it's a thought, and then it kind of, like the importance of it dissolves.
Hmm.
It doesn't disappear. There is something there which doesn't have to be named, but it's still
Yeah.
there somewhere.
Yeah. It's in the calling it, it's in the naming it, it's in the labeling
Yeah,
it that
yeah.
creates a narrative of what pain, what sensations are. And um it's not about getting rid of it, but there's no more weight to it, so to speak. Because for example,
There's
if you
no
get
more. Sorry,
weight,
I didn't.
there's no more heaviness, weight,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yet or
yeah,
emotions behind it, so to speak.
yeah.
Yeah, because emotions, if you notice it, it gets hijacked by thought right away. Oh, I'm happy about this, I'm sad about this.
Yeah, yeah.
And the I am makes this continuous illusion appearance of you having, having this issues or problems.
Mm,
Yeah. This the and this is just a time. This is a time thing, right? In the story
mm.
of time, it gets clearer and clearer.
How do you mean?
It gets clearer and clearer because it's automatic, right? The thoughts, like it's almost like when you, for example, when I wake up in the morning now, because that's the clearest, that moment now has expanded into like a few hours of just
Mm,
walking. Because there's no need to think, you know what I'm saying? It's
mm,
just
mm,
walking, making coffee. So it's almost like the body's just happening automatically without any thoughts.
mm.
there's just a lot more serenity, so to speak, clarity without words. And it doesn't matter if the words, if the thoughts come back, because it's just another thought, right? But
No.
yeah, because it's been, this
Well,
has been about 8 years of this silence, basically. And yeah. And that's why it's easy for me to see. I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't get it that you don't get it, because it's just thoughts. So I go into many different angles, basically in one-on-ones. Yeah, it's, I meet where people are at, right? So, and then it's like I like pushing people out of the of a plane, you know, like skydiving with no parachute, but there's also no landing.
No, that's
That's
the weather thing that you also said last time, or you're saying several times, this no position.
yeah,
So it's like whenever there is something that the mind grabs onto, then you are, of course, out of free fall, but
yeah,
can't
yeah.
let.
But the out of free fall is just in the head. You're still in free fall.
Mm. Yeah. Mm.
And they'll remind him again what's in between free fall and no free fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's if you notice it, the thoughts are quite tricky, because it's easy to get caught up into a narrative. And
Well, they are chaining together, so
they are,
whatever, it
yeah,
starts
it's a loop.
somewhere and then it goes somewhere, and
Yeah,
suddenly they are where you didn't really plan them to be. So
yeah,
it's kind of an automatic.
it's automatic. It's just a, it's a, what do you call it? It's a system.
Yeah.
It's a system. It's a system to maintain reality as we know it. It's a system so that you don't question anything, including questioning you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing,
Okay.
that's the most obvious, right? Like when you're dreaming at night, you don't question um the dream. You don't question that maybe you are flying in a dream or something, or swimming, you know what I'm saying, when you don't know how to swim. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, that was interesting. So this is basically sleeping and awakeness simultaneously. There's still there's still dreaming and thinking still happens. You're like, oh, it was a really nice day yesterday. You know, Johanna was walking down the street, and you know, and I was, but people don't notice that the narrator is the dream, the thoughts is the dream, and the awakeness is seeing that, okay, you know what, there's silence with that one as well. It's kind of like it's awake and asleep at the same time. It's wild. It's unthinkable, basically.
Yeah, yeah, no, I don't understand anything.
Me too.
The one question about, because that's one of those words or statements that are also kind of problematic. There is no you, or like the you is a illusion; it doesn't exist,
Oh,
and so on.
forget all of that shit. That's just
Okay.
another, that's a new religion now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony's the Pope now. You know what I'm saying?
But I had a friend over Sunday, and we we're just playing around with, like, um, we have a very close relation, so we talk about everything very,
Yeah.
very without any filters. And we just started playing with it. He asked, "What is your self-image?" And that was interesting, because that I realized at that moment I don't have a self-image.
No, no.
I don't. I can't. I had to kind of really, really put on the thinking cap
Yeah.
and try to figure out how I looked at myself.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. I don't know what it
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything, but it was
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, if you look at, yeah, if you look at this self, you know, it's almost like we don't it's a trick, right? Because when we're not thinking about the self when we're kids, then it doesn't matter. But there's something lacking as we grow up. There's something missing, so to speak, that there's something off. Something, let's just call it something off. And some people, you know what, find a partner, find a career, find religion, find a belief system, it's because there is something off, that this character can't be figured out. So it starts, that feeling off, you know what I'm saying, is almost like a self-discovery. And then we get into non-duality. Then we're like, oh, it's all self, or higher self, or the, you know, the true nature and everything. You're like, oh, finally, you know what? I'm getting it now, right? So it just fuels that I don't know what it is, that something missing. I'll just call it something missing, which is the me, this the self, or whatever. So it keeps on looking.
Mm.
But by
But
there,
I mean that is driven by some kind of need to know
yeah,
something,
I need to
like
know it.
to understand.
It goes to the
I
next,
need to
yeah.
but also like found a solid ground
That's something
to
off,
base.
basically, is one day you realize that you're here, but you're not really here. And then you can't put it into a, you know, so I have to figure it out. Right. There's something that clicks, you know what I'm saying? You know, that this mystery, this life, you know what I'm saying? It's like a glitch in the program happens, basically, that need to know. It wants to know, the AI wants to know who created it. That kind of thing.
I don't feel that. I don't think
Yeah.
that I've ever felt that I need to understand anything.
Yeah.
The whole this like last 5 years was more like just because, yeah, more of curiosity than I
But you
wouldn't
can
have.
also, you can also call it curiosity. It doesn't have to be this, doesn't have to be all the same. You know what I'm saying? Some people have this loss.
Mm,
Some people have, you
mm.
know, but we're calling it a different, we're putting a name or a thought to it. So for you, it's curiosity. But what is it without that word?
Yeah, I was thinking about that today,
Yeah.
actually, because I enjoy this is I enjoy my thinking very much.
Yeah.
Not the like the it's a game. It's a play. It's a
Yeah.
like a beautiful
Well, you
creative
have
game. The things that the things I work with is like highly abstract, large systems and
you
also
have a,
complex.
but you have a very childlike curiosity in you, is what I see. There's this
Yeah.
creativity. There's this wonder still, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And
definitely.
yeah, and that
I
wonder
think
sometimes, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, just that I think almost everything is fun,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
I would like you can take the most boring subject, and after like 5-10 minutes,
yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of okay, but then you can do like
yeah, yeah.
this, and so people are using me like as a creative like sounding board, and I always feel like how can I possibly have an opinion about this? And after 5-10 minutes, I realize that I'm sitting there and coming with. Actually, I'm surprised that what to hear what my voice is saying.
Yeah,
That it's so I enjoy being myself very very much.
yeah, yeah. And
It's a
that's
fun
awesome.
experience.
It is a fun
Yeah.
experience. Yeah. Yeah. I had that curiousness, but the curiousness became longing because I wanted to figure out now. Right. So when I was at my creativity and then lost my creativity, and then several situations in my life happened. So there's a longing now. And that curiousness rather than became almost like a neurosis.
Mm,
And that's what happens with a lot of people. It becomes
mm,
neurosis. I encounter, you know, like, you know, again, we're just making up stories here. Um, I do have people that have come aboard, you know, and discovered something out of curiosity, kind of like you. And and usually that's the easiest to pop, you know what I'm saying? Because there's already a flow of curiousness. There's already a belief and non-belief simultaneously. Not something that is an in-betweenness, so to speak, a clarity, right? Like,
mm,
because that's what creativity is, some clarity. Um,
mm.
no position, basically, right? It's in the in
Yeah,
between.
multiple positions at the same time,
and that's
and
that what
just moving
that's what,
between
like,
them.
that's being creative. But it's also good to lose your footing and to fall into space, you know what I'm saying, into the void.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is basically that spaciousness is actually, and I'm just saying words, it's actually the absolute creativity, because you can't come up with nothing. You're going the opposite direction now, right? Rather than creating. Now it's like, oh, I can't. There's just this silence. And that for me is the most beautiful art masterpiece. You know what I'm saying? There's this flurry of thoughts, and also there's this silence simultaneously. I'm like, wow. Like if you go to, you know, talking about, right? It's just like,
yeah. Well, there is definitely some kind of resistance and fear here. That is kind of, it's a general resistance. I'm kind of putting my heels into the ground and really, and I
but
can't
without a
define it.
But without a past or a future, what is resistance? You can't go to the past or the future if resistance is just another word.
Yeah.
There's no reality to it. What's between reality and illusion? What's between resistance and no resistance?
Yeah.
Because the word becomes a solidity, which
every
single word.
No, you're right. You're right. Have solidified my resistance by labeling it.
Exactly.
And now I use it as something. Yeah.
But there's no you to resist it as well.
They say so.
I didn't do that.
No, it's really funny. Sometimes my employees wonder why I'm doing this side down. No, I'm not that. Maybe you're reading my mind. Sorry, what did you say just before?
Oh, I can't remember.
No, me either.
It anything that we think about ourselves, because there's no I behind it, it will just keep on going to more of a black hole. So imagine you're standing in between two black holes, right? And everything gets zapped out, because the thoughts seem to create a loop. So it creates another loop and another, you know what, just keeps on going and going and going. Like, for example, kind of like what I said there, who's behind the resistance?
That was what you said about
who's behind the resistance.
It's really weird, because I can't really say
exactly.
I can't say that there is a you. I can say that there is no you, but
it's between you and no you. That's what's behind it.
So it's actually fine to be in between you and no you, because it's that's a good position. Or no position.
You can't even say it.
Yeah.
It's in between position and no position. And it's just vast, right? It's like the vastness opens up right away. And anything that's solid that you think about yourself, because it doesn't have a past or a future, it's just appearing in this appearance. So it just dissolves. And it's back into that quietness that never leaves. Yeah.
There is a silence.
Yeah.
It's really simple.
It's really simple.
And there is definitely no questions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's because as you say, now now I got problems to talk.
Yeah.
when I see some of the people who are like really affected, I'm so impressed that they are able to talk.
Yeah.
Because some of them are actually continuing talking while and saying things.
Yeah.
And apparently you have this effect on people, including me, to kind of go to silence. And then I don't have any real, I don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. The speechlessness, you know, that occurs is when the it's like when any situation is put to rest, because it doesn't have any more kind of like it doesn't have anything.
It doesn't have any opposites.
It doesn't have any opposites. Yeah. It's funny, right? Because everybody talks about the no opposite, but they're talking about opposites all the time.
Yeah.
There's no one here. There's an opposite. It's all consciousness. That's an opposite. Yeah.
I think that is
Getting trapped in the words, right? So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that was like it has been obvious for quite some time that
for you,
there is nothing to know really.
You just did not know how to put it, right?
No, but yeah, exactly, because I was listening to a lot of things, not from the perspective of that I thought I could learn something, but I tried to understand why do they make it so complicated?
Yeah.
Because it's like building these systems of thoughts, and it's words. There's so many words, and like one thought that comes back all the time is, how is this supposed to be helpful? I'm not talking about you now. I'm talking about all these words, because sometimes it's just like sales pitch for this fantastic state that the speaker is in.
Exactly.
Wow, you seem to be in a really good position. I would like to be in that position too.
Yeah.
But in which way does that person's description of their supposed reality help me? It doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I've listened to it from that perspective, and I don't know if I mentioned I started writing a book. It's not. This was more of a joke.
Yeah.
But like it's a contrarian's guide to enlightenment, and it's my.
I like that one. Send me a
that
copy.
So it's I just was so annoyed with so many things, so I started writing down these things, and just it cannot be this complicated.
No.
And what you are doing is really like removing the concepts completely. It's there is nothing to understand. I mean, it's obvious that there is nothing to understand.
Yeah.
And
I'm really surprised that no one else is doing it this way, right? Because it's very, very simple, right? But I guess this does not it pushes away business.
Well, no, but I think I have a theory about this, and it's and that is that people are. If you look at these people who are teachers, they and your story also, they come from a long searching, and they come from a personality type that is really high performance, like high achievement thing. And when they finally something breaks in them, the only thing that they have to explain it is with a similar model that happened to them. They don't really understand what happened, because it's just and apparently this is another thing. You talk about beliefs, and it's also a thing that I've really noticed, that like apparently you can get something enlightenment like through a lot of belief systems. So you can be in a dream and still be enlightened. And that's, I mean, I think it's really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
So, and the only way to get out of the dream is what I think you are doing. It is the when there is no concept.
Yeah.
There is no belief. There is nothing to connect to stand on so yeah, I'm fascinated that you said it, like why are not people doing this? Because they came from some point and they never question. And you can see some teachers are really suffering like you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see they are like the curse of being a public person and saying that they are or behaving like they are holy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling that there's suffering here. I'm not envious anyway. It's
And
yeah,
it's the same with the speakers, that there is no me becomes a new belief system now, right? And
yeah,
and
yeah,
and I see the
yeah.
suffering too, to be honest, right? Because I
Mm.
talked to some of them, to be honest, and I'm like, I didn't get it, right? Because for quite a while, I talked to a whole bunch. I was just behind the scenes, and I was like,
Yeah,
I don't know why they're miserable. I don't know why they keep, it doesn't make sense.
no,
There's
no,
something off, right? Because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
something off. And then when I talk to them, all they do is gossip about other speakers and teachers, and all of it is just wild, right? I'm like, and
yeah,
here
yeah,
I have love, I'm saying? I'm like, there's just peace here, like, okay, no problem,
yeah,
saying?
yeah. No,
Because
I
I
saw
see,
you doing like lots of interviews.
yeah,
So I've listened to interviews that you have done.
yeah,
But the first time I saw you talk was Angelo Di Lolo. No, oh, I don't remember his
Josh,
name. Josh, exactly.
Josh, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
And I thought that this was, I mean, like that side of spirituality is there's the rule book about how it happens, and there's
yeah,
shadow work, and there's
yeah,
so many
yeah,
things that you have to go through, and if you don't do the shadow work, then you are really not enlightened,
yeah.
and so on. And it really, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me, and
It doesn't
I
make
got the
I
feeling.
love those guys. I love those guys completely, you know what I'm saying? But I don't get the shadow work part. I don't get it at all. Yeah. Um,
I actually don't understand how it's supposed to happen. There seems to be a gap.
yeah.
Sorry for talking about this, but I really
No, no.
think there's a gap between what they're promising and where you are. And this, like somehow you're approaching here, and then suddenly you're supposed to jump to this position, but it's very, very unclear what is actually causing the jump.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
I do,
There is
yeah.
no, it's like really, it's the way that you are doing it is, it sounds weird to say it, but it's concrete. It's really, really concrete, because what it's saying is that all thoughts are not true and beliefs are thoughts. And
Yeah.
the moment when you start doing that, then you have actually a tool to start, like, okay, this is actually not true. Then you can find, like, go to this.
Yeah.
There is a way,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Because I really don't see any of the teachers that I've listened to provide that. If you listen to Parsons, what was his
Tony.
first name? Tony. Um, it seems like it's just random. Like it's no, there's no self here, nothing, and everything, and it's like, and now what? Okay, how do I get
There's
there?
yeah. And
There's
he'll
nothing
say
to
there's no
do.
self to get there. Right. But
No,
it
exactly. And
yeah.
it's like closed ends everywhere.
You can't have this
And
orgasm, because everybody's talking about this, it's
yeah,
boundless and it's free,
yeah,
and the
it's a
listeners
sales pitch.
saying, well, how do I get that? Oh,
Yeah,
you can't.
No.
No, you can't. Maybe if you come to my meeting when you see me in person, maybe then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you can't.
Something energetic.
It's like teasing. It's always teasing, you know.
A sales pitch. I mean,
A sales
that's
pitch,
how it
yeah.
seems. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think lots of people are honest, but it still feels
selling
they,
something.
they are, and this person is not one who buys things that doesn't seem to make sense.
Yeah.
And so it's this makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's a sales pitch, right? So and again, you know what, they're people that are really sincere. So but it's but why talk about it when you can't help the person that's listening? Is it just right? It's like there's so many people that are copying that kind of speaking, right? Why not be able to, if you really, you know, I'm saying, if there's clarity, there should be able to say, you know what, hey, you know what, this is how I see clarity in between whatever, right? You know, because you know what everyone's saying is very similar. And that's what the thing is, right? Because of course, when there was no thoughts here, I'm like, yeah, there's no one here, right? But I didn't know that people started believing that. I had no idea that that became a belief system. For me, it's so clear that I didn't even have a need to speak about it. I just thought I would screw it up by speaking, because kind of like what you're saying, right? Because it's so obvious. But the way that I see it, I want you to see how obvious it is too. And that's why I love the one-on-ones, because you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I love it when people are like seeking for 30 years, 40 years, in a flash of an instance, right? They're like, you know, because they're caught up in that train of thought for a long time that has been running for 20 years.
Yeah.
But when you say that it's a ghost train,
yeah,
then all of a sudden that running around is like, oh, wait a second. But usually people, when they still have a belief system, it's easy to get caught up in it again. You're okay. You just really have words that use the random words, like what you said earlier. I can't remember what word. You're fine, you know what I'm saying? But people have mountains of belief sometimes, and they come back, they're like, Emerson, I had so much clarity for 3-4 days or a couple of weeks. But there's still a me here. I'm like, enough of that. Please stop it. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like an indoctrination, the self. Yeah. And in my meetings right now, I've been, it's kind of funny. I'm getting really brutal, right? I'm like, you know, kick all of the pedestals. Teachers, as at the moment that you look up to them, they hold the truth. I wonder why people still come, right? Because
yeah.
you know, it's but people have left, a lot of people have left because they are bothered by what I say now. It challenges their belief system. So rather than seeing through, you know what I'm saying, or falling endlessly, they want to hold on to a belief that there's no one here. One day I'll get there, because there's someone that is a great salesperson that they bought into. And I say, and I keep on saying, don't believe anyone. It's all a sales pitch, including me. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I say that in my meetings now, like, you know, like, but yeah, it's fascinating.
I think the point when you're saying this, but it's such an important thing. Have a position to whenever, like, beliefs are obviously also a position that you look at things from, and that is but I was just thinking about how no, I don't I don't know what I was thinking, but it's beliefs are strong, and beliefs I'm fascinated as that there are people are able to have been searching for lots of years and sit in your one-on-ones and so it's that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Like the new one that I did, right? So his name is the last one. I can't remember his name. He's a really great guy, Robert. So 30 years, right? So of seeking, right? And then yeah, in an instance, he was just like, what the hell? Right. And he sends me this beautiful like little emails, like, he's quite creative in his writing. It's just beautiful to see the playfulness now and the clarity, right? So yeah. But the belief system is crucial to see as just a complete falsity. Because you don't even know where it comes from.
No, but it
But
gives
anything
itself
involving
away
time.
when
Sorry, go ahead.
it gives away. It gives itself away through the like the limiting thoughts and emotions. It kind of comes from it. So if you have a belief that something, and then you get um, that is provoked or reinforced or whatever, then it gets like this side effect, which is a thought or emotion, and that is when people should have you there saying, "But that's just a thought,"
Yeah.
because that is like what really uh, cancels out the validity, the
Yeah.
solidity in that emotion. It just
Yeah.
feels like you can kind of backtrack that kind of like a drop makes a hole in the stone. I don't remember
Yeah.
how it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like poking holes at what everyone is saying, right? It's
yeah.
because it's full of holes to what everyone is saying. And for example, someone will say contracted energy. I'm like, what's that?
Mm.
or
Well,
or
yeah.
s- or the feathers, the feather work. And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
like what's that? There's
Oh,
curiousness here,
it's.
it. Yeah.
I mean that's. I have listened to some of that, and I know it's another thing that is also shows up often is this like perceptual things. I read a book with good about the so-called direct path, which is really not a direct path at
No.
all, but whatever. And he and others propose that you should work with the visual senses in order to reduce the sense of separation, which seems like totally like it's
It
okay. You
reinforces it.
have yeah. You kind of work with that which is it's like attacking the problem at the totally wrong
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
And because I think I said that it's so obvious that seeing is itself a thought uh, when when you when there is no thoughts, there is no seeing. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
and hearing or all those things,
Yeah.
because the hearing doesn't appear before the brain has kind of labeled it
Yeah.
into a sound and so on.
Yeah.
You don't have to work with the
No.
like it's like bodybuilding maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. It's funny, right? Because when it's expressed, when I was expressing the simplicity of it, that thoughts are made up, words are made up. You know what? It created a little bit of kind of like a little bit of um um I guess irritation, because I'm basically dismantling everything. So one side was basically saying, no, 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 there has to be practices and vasanas and stuff like that. Like you have to look at the koshas and everything. And one side of it, the radical side, this message has nothing to do with thoughts. This is prior to thought. My
Mm,
response to both of them, those are still thoughts.
mm, mm, mm,
All of that's everything that's ever been mentioned is just a thought. And that's how
mm,
simple it
mm.
is, right? Because
Yeah,
one
yeah,
will come with a belief, and then the other one will be about having no beliefs. But
mm.
no belief is just a belief, and belief is just,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's so
No, it's
simple.
yeah, so that was became also much more clear, that all thoughts are equally not true.
Yeah.
Is there is no hierarchy in
Yeah.
truthfulness
Yeah.
in the thoughts. They are
Yeah.
all of the same
They are all the same.
essence.
Thoughts are neither true or false, because true is a thought and false is a thought.
Yeah.
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 Therefore, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But fun also.
Fun. Yeah. I love words. I love words. You know,
Yeah.
like I love coming up with a new thing to say. And and it's there's been clarity here. And but I know that words are like, clarity is like walking into a clear lake. The moment that you walk around, it muddies the water. That's what words are. But sometimes you learn how to float on your back, saying, and just, in between the water and the mud. So you can splish splash around, I'm saying, with whatever words that you have, because there's no seriousness with the words. And then I was catching it that everything that I was saying becomes a belief. And I'm like, oh, what the hell? Not just, I will say, they'll be like, well, it's really nothing. I'm like, it's not even nothing. And then
And that was also one thing that I thought about. You really took away from the first call, and even that is saying too much.
yeah.
And you can say that after everything
Yeah.
you say, because it's even that is saying too
Say
much.
way too much. Yeah. Way too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is there anything I should think about, do, or something? I guess not.
No, it's not really, to be honest, right? It's I have people, that there are people that has been indoctrinated for a long time, with either a system, a practice, a method, and those are the people that have, it's almost like they came out from a mind cult, basically. Like people that believe that it's all awareness, or I have to abide. Usually those people are people that working on feather work and everything, right? Or because it's always like, it's almost like it's very thinly veiled, right? But there's always a teacher that you want an approval from. So what I do with those is like basically what's between approval and no approval. Yeah, but they usually come back, like a lot more, because it's easy to get caught up in a system again, because the system that they were using, for example, people are trying to get rid of their emotions, like an emotion release work, or shadow work and everything. So they have been, it's almost like they have been brainwashed to get rid, or release. But the very releasing and the very giving, very surrender, the practice of it, reinforce it that there is something significant.
Yeah.
Something
Everything reinforces the self.
Yeah, it reinforces
Doing
how
the
significant
character.
the character. Yeah. Similarly, people that are on the opposite side of the spectrum, that there's no me, when it becomes a belief, usually they come back after a couple of weeks and they'll be like, oh, the me came back. I'm like, okay. They're like, oh, I had a good 2 weeks, Emerson. I was so happy. And then the me came back. I'm like, no, sorry. There's no such thing. What's between me and no me? And they're like, oh, it's silent again. Thank you. That kind of thing, right? And then a week later again, saying like, and then I caught it. I'm like, who are you listening to? Like, why? They're like, oh, I started going back to the meetings and I heard contracted errors. I'm like, stop it. Stop it, right? Seriously, just, it's bullshit, right? So why do you keep on going back to the meeting? He goes, well, you know what? I don't know who to talk to about this and everything. I'm like, well, how can you really talk about this when there's nothing to say? So yeah,
That
so those
is
are
the
the
thing.
thing, you know what I'm saying? So people, you know, or they'll get caught up and they'll say that, "Oh, I think I need to do some feather work and everything." I'm like, okay, you know, because there's always that old, you know, that old kind of like, you know, neurosis of something comes
Yeah,
back,
but
right?
it's
Yeah.
it's the doing. I mean, I have to do something to get somewhere.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, like you
And
say, it cannot just be
yeah,
because yeah,
but they
it's
give
not.
it like usually after about 6 months, you know what? There is some clarity now. Sometimes they have to fall into that thing too, you know what I'm saying, to see the difference again. You know,
Mm,
because they have this belief that maybe they're saying the same thing. I'm like, no, they're talking about absolutes, which is a big landing.
yeah, yeah,
When you say that there's only self, that's a big landing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That you
yeah,
can't
yeah,
prove because you've just made the word into a statue, into something that you worship every day.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
same thing that there is no me is just become, you know, it's become another statue, another god basically that you're worshiping. There's no me, there's no
Mm,
me, there's no me. Then you worship people that are saying those things, right?
mm,
And that you can't even talk shit about them. You can't even question them. I say question them all, grill them all. You know what I'm saying? They do that to me
mm,
because you know what? When I started speaking, they're like, oh, you know
mm.
what? Who is this joke of a
Yeah,
person?
yeah, yeah,
Basically, yeah.
yeah.
What is this? You know, what right does he have speaking about this? And I kind of saw that, you know, saying the reaction. There were people who were like, oh, another one. Why did he get enlightened interviewing these people? I'm like, no, I did not. I was already, you know, there was already peace here. Let's just call it peace here, right?
Mm,
I just wanted to have fun. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so
I wonder.
people would yell at me. They're like, yeah, da, 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 or call me a teacher or a therapist, whatever. You're a teacher. Or somebody will say, you're a parrot of Tony Parsons. You're this, and that, right? And I'm like, okay, right. So like, and then you know what? Like, I'll really, because even before speaking, I felt compelled to speak because someone asked me to speak, but I didn't have any
Mm,
intention of doing it whatsoever. I was just
mm,
doing the one-on-ones on the side. I would notice that someone's suffering. I'm like, hey, if
mm,
you want to talk, you know what I'm saying? I can talk to you. And I'll start saying, it's just a thought, really, right? You know?
mm.
And then I
But that
was,
must be very provocative for some people.
oh,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I have a friend who is really suffering, and there is really no opening in that
Oh,
sense
yeah, yeah.
because
Even
the
people,
owning the suffering is
yeah,
a part of the whole thing.
it is. Like, for example, someone that is suffering, and I really wanted to help this person. You know what I'm saying? Although they believe that there's no person to help, which is the suffering.
Mm, mm,
And then
mm,
basically she would say, but I don't want to hear it's just thoughts. I'm like, well, I can't help you then
mm.
because you just
Yeah,
want to continue your drama. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah,
When it can
exactly.
be
It's
easily been, it means that the character is addicted to the drama so much, right? That
uh,
when I'm saying, do you want to go to rehab? No. Do you
mm.
want to go to recovery?
Yeah.
Hell no. Can't
Mm,
don't tell
mm,
me I need to go to recovery, you know, say, because I have
mm.
this experience when I was a child that was very, which is thought by
Yeah,
the way,
yeah,
that was very,
yeah,
and you can't say that that's
yeah.
not true. I'm like, okay, all right, okay,
Mm.
cool. Love you too.
Yeah, no, that.
There's
Yeah,
nothing I can do.
yeah.
You know,
No,
say,
no,
yeah.
no.
It's like people wants their head to be chopped, but they can't seem to bring themselves to it.
But it's an identity then.
It
It
is an
becomes their
identity, yeah.
personal. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Here
yeah,
I am, a seeker. That's my
yeah.
identity. Watch me seek.
Yeah.
and
Mm,
it's funny, right? This person adores all of these teachers, and I'm like, that's your suffering there.
mm.
That's the suffering there. You're trying
That
to,
it must be like because one of my personality traits, good and bad, is that I'm a contrarian.
yeah.
Or not compulsive, but there is
That's a good thing.
always
Yeah.
yeah. When someone says something, I don't I accept that automatically as true, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
Not
More like
in
a
an obnoxious way.
More like a skeptic.
Yeah, like just. But I enjoy also the possibility to look at it from another angle.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, so you're contrarian then, yeah, because you enjoy it as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't make people angry anymore.
Good.
But I think that is why some people have the tendency to get stuck in teacher pupil
teacher
relations,
worship, basically.
because they want someone that they can trust and look up to and so on.
Exactly.
So
and I don't offer any of those with my speaking. I don't offer a father figure, or I'm very ordinary, and I just want people to know it. I talk about my mom, my dog, my wife. I'm not selling an orgasm. Yeah. I'm not selling enlightenment. Great. Yeah. But I'm basically offering clarity, and it's quite the clarity, the sobriety, the directness is very threatening for a lot of belief system.
Well, it is the end of belief systems.
It is the end of belief systems.
So you're the killer of.
I'm the killer. Yeah.
Tony said something about the butcher or the killer or something, but you're one level above that. You're killing everything in a positive way. Of course.
Yeah, that butchering, I don't understand it now, because it's selling that now. The idea of it.
Yeah, but of course.
Yeah,
it's immediately when you're doing what's between is and what I like. What is separate if you don't think about it?
Yeah.
What is good and bad if you don't think about it?
Yeah.
That's also like opening this empty realization that there is no such thing.
Yeah.
That it's just a thought.
Yeah. It's funny, right? Because I've been doing this for this one-on-ones for about 3 years, and it's wild, because it's almost like the problem with the speaker on a stage on a pedestal is because they don't know what's happening with the audience anymore. They're detached.
Yeah, well, that is one of the things that I really wonder about, because it's really weird. One-on-ones, it's obvious that you meet everyone where they are.
Yeah.
But if you take like Rupert Spira sits on the stage and answers questions, and he openly says that it adapts the answers to the person who is asking, but all the other people were listening to it, so we're getting the wrong information. It's impossible to. What should I listen to then? So it's like becomes
performative.
It's
and I don't even know, because you know what, I have questioned the validity of what's being said, but I'm at peace, so I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, create some ruckus or anything. But I like poking holes at what everyone's saying. It doesn't matter who, because I really assumed there was an assumption here that everyone had the same clarity, right? But they just have a different way of expressing. And I'm like, but if they have clarity, how come they can't seem to bring people to clarity? It doesn't make sense, doesn't it?
No.
Right? Because there's like, when I hear people are following, like Rupert for 20 years, Tony 20 years, I'm like, why? But I have to go, Johan, because I have another meeting.
Sorry.
I'll send you the recordings.
Yes, thank you.
Maybe we should release some of this.
Let me check.
Okay, I'll send it to you first.
Get back to you.
All right.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.